Okay, hey folks. I want to talk to you today a little bit about file formats and what works on the internet and what doesn't, um, and what we're going to use and how we're going to use them within Google Web Designer. Again, the idea is to get a portfolio of your work. Uh, we're going to start out with JPEGs, which you've all heard of, I'm certain. Um, a lot of pictures of my dog down here, actually. You see her? You can see her nose sort of. Anyway, um, these are all taken with my phone. I'm going to download all of them, which I actually did. They turned them into a zip file. This is just something from, this is just using Google Photos. Um, JPEG. Uh, I'm guessing no one knows what that stands for, do they? Um, I'm going to tell you. You should hear it once in your life. It stands for the Joint Photographic Experts Group. Uh, The Joint Photographic Experts Group was a group of people who were put together to figure out how to compress photos over very, very narrow internet lines. Um, Here's the thing: when I was much younger, um, a modem was sometimes what was called 300 baud, which was 300 bits, on-off bits per second. So sending an image over a modem might take a day or two. uh, there was a problem actually they had. Um, in America, you could only hold a suspect for 48 hours without arraigning them. So here's the problem: someone in Chicago robs a lot of houses, and they're in New York, and then they get picked up in New York. Now they have fingerprints all over Chicago, which are just black and white images, but they don't have them in New York, so they can't compare his fingerprints there to the fingerprints in Chicago. So they wanted a way to very rapidly move these fingerprint files so that people wouldn't be let go. Um, this group of digital experts got together and came up with what's called a lossy technique. Um, what lossy means is it means it will lose detail every time it's opened, changed, and saved. Now, the reason they did this is it made images much smaller. Um, this is a video where someone loads a JPEG image, compresses it a little bit more, and saves it 600 times. And this is the original image. And what you'll watch starting to happen is called JPEG artifacting. We'll even stop on some of it, like there. And it's sort of ironic because it's not only JPEG artifacting, we're getting other artifacting too. I'm probably going to regret if I full screen this because it will take over everything like that. Although actually, that's not awful. Something you'll notice about JPEG artifacting is that it's squarish. Um, what the JPEG people did is they first sorted an image differently. They sorted an image going diagonally this way. And then they broke it into 8 pixel by 8 pixel blocks. And then what they did is they broke the image up not into the actual color values, red, green, and blue. They broke it up into the difference from pixel to pixel or block to block. So if I'm up here, the difference between this block and this block, the white, is almost nothing. The difference between this blue and this white is very good. Now, where they got the lossy part is they started throwing out the smaller differences. And generally, you don't notice it. Like if we hit this, we'll let it go for a second or two. That looks almost the same. You're seeing a little bit of the blocky noise here, and where you see it where there are very abrupt changes. You don't see it where there would be fine detail because that's already gone. If you keep doing it, it will get worse and worse and worse. And actually, these are good examples here, those really big blocks. See that? You know what? Maybe I can do it up here better. If you see a big block like this and a big block like this and these big blocks here, those are those 8 by 8 blocks where it's just given up. JPEG artifacting almost always shows itself off as strange, squarish artifacts, and artifacts just be noise that shouldn't be there. Now, generally, you're not going to open and close a JPEG image um, 600 times. You shouldn't. JPEG is what is known as a destination medium, meaning it's where things end up, and an origination medium, meaning it's where you get things originally. It's not the best origination medium. There's something called RAW, that's raw information from a sensor. It's much bigger, but it's kind of rare. JPEG is still used because it's convenient. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to the New York Times, and I will almost promise you this is a JPEG image. I will right mouse click it. I will save this image as, and notice what it says right there, JPEG. People want web pages to load fast, so they will put JPEG images into web pages because it will load fast, and it also makes it less likely to be stolen because the quality won't be as good. There are a few limitations to JPEG images. One is that they're 3-channel. They are red, green, and blue. They have no alpha channel, and we're going to talk about what an alpha channel is in a little bit. The other is that if you open and load them and change them, you get all this artifacting going on. Now, if I look at the images I downloaded, and they're actually in this photos directory here, hold on, right here. Let me show this in a folder. Okay, so it's a zip file, which compresses it even more. I'm going to uncompress this, right mouse it, and we'll extract it to photos. And it should give me a new directory. And that directory, as you see, is full of thumbnail JPEGs. It has one MPEG-4, which is another type of thing we can use. It's actually Motion Pictures Experts Group, but we'll talk about that in a moment too. Now, let's talk about our application and how we use these. We will import these as assets. So let's open up Google Web Designer. Google Web Designer, Google Web Designer, Google Web Designer. There it is. We'll center ourselves a little bit here. Again, we're going to be creating a new file. It's going to be HTML with pages. We're going to call this Luna. That's the name of the dog. It'll go into the series. We'll call this Luna. And we'll leave that in advanced. And we'll hit OK. Okay, now I get by default this image here. I mean image. This is actually my background. It has a size that is too small for my tastes. I'm going to go 1024 by 768, which is just a fairly standard size for pages. And then if I have to zoom out a little bit, you'll see, because it's still got too much in it. And now I want to start bringing in stuff. I'm going to go into File. I'm going to go into Import Assets. All these things are considered assets. And now let's find our directory, file paths. I'll go way off on file paths in a while, but you have to know your file paths. Remember, the internet is just one huge hierarchical structure of file paths. So if you don't know where your files are, nobody else does either. I put them in downloads, photos 1, here they are. Okay, I'm going to try to load all of them to there, let's say, and hit open. Oh, that's interesting. It thinks they're too big. And actually, if you look at them, they are wildly too big. I shouldn't laugh. But the reason I'm laughing is that these are so big, I'm not even certain where my original frame is. So we have a problem right off the bat. I have to change the size of these, and actually, let's figure that out. Exactly how big are these? I'm going to go over here and right mouse click, and we're going to get ourselves some info properties. Details. There we go. 4032 by 3024. My entire web page is 1024 by 768. So this image is 4 times larger this way, more than 3 times larger this way. This image is way too big. I got to change the size of them. I was going to try and do this in Photopea, but that's not going to happen. So, you know, it might happen, but I'm going to do it in Photoshop first. I have to change the size of all these images. I need images that are easier to use. If you'll note, if we go back to our New York Times here, and let's face it, they're a big website. They're concerned about people seeing stuff, right? If we go to that image, and we're going to hit save it, and then if I look at the size of that image, should be somewhere way up top here, way down top here, this, and let's get its properties. It is 1050 by 700. Now they very purposefully picked that resolution because they know their web page is bigger. It's maybe 1600 by 1200, and that's big enough to fit in it without giving people too much stuff. So we need to get our images down in size. And we have a lot of images to get down. I can swear we opened Photoshop somewhere, but let me try to figure out where. We'll go up here. Photoshop 2020. Yeah, we will continue. Oh, good. Okay. Here's some Photoshop. We're going to have to do something called batch processing. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, but Photoshop is actually a pretty good batch processor where it can do something over and over again. What I need to do is I need to take all these big images, which are 4,000 by 3,000, and I need to turn them into something that's more like 1,000 by 800, right? So I could do that by hand, and it would take a while and would make a really boring video. Or I could make sure I'm in a decent setup here. I'm going to go to photography, figuring that's probably the best place to be. And then I'm going to make sure that my actions window is open. I can create an action that will resize an image, and we'll do it to 1. I'm going to open my file. We were in photos, and I'm going to take this image here. Dog. I kind of hate that extras is on all the time. But so we have dog. Let's look quickly at the image size. 3,000 by 4,000 pixels. I'm going to start recording an action right now. I'm going to go here. I have to go here to create, we'll call this resize. And actually, maybe where'd my resize go? There's resize. I'll hit that. We'll call this RS. And it's going to start recording. So, image size. I want to shrink this to about, actually, I want about 1,000 pixels on this dimension, like that. I'm going to hit OK. Aha. No, it looks smaller, but really we're way zoomed out. That's at 100%. It's still looking good. I'm going to hit stop. Okay. Now, I have this thing called called RS actually. What I need to do now is I need to run this on every image in that directory. File, automate, batch. Okay. So I'm going to play resize. My source is going to be a folder actually. It's going to be, and again, we got to know our file paths, downloads, photos 1. Select that folder. Okay. We don't have action open commands. We'll suppress the options dialog because that will ask me stupid questions I don't want to answer. Suppress color profile warnings. We'll suppress those too. The destination will be a new folder, which we'll put in a similar place. We want to be able to find it. I'll put it in folders 1, and we'll call it new folder, and we'll call this resize. And we'll select it. Select folder. Okay. Now, it's going to, the document name is going to be what it's called. The extension is going to be the extension. I wonder if I should override. And no, I should not override. So we will not override. I'm going to hit OK, and we're going to see what happens. Okay. Now, you notice it has JPEG options because it's saving as JPEGs. I should be able to just hold down I'm just holding down the Enter key, and it's just going to keep loading those. You actually can see on screen. See how I have the Enter key down? It's going to keep loading those and resizing them for us. Batch process. Yeah, there might be times, by the way, where you have to do this thousands of images. It's something they make interns do a lot, and a lot of you guys will eventually be interns. Now, I am saving them once with a high-quality JPEG compression. I probably should have saved them as something else, but one level of JPEG isn't going to hurt them too badly. There's a question you could ask. Yep.
Yeah, just wanted to ask, how is it that you make sure you have the rest of the images of like the album selected to like resize them to how you did with the first one?
You mean out of Google Photos or wherever you're storing your photos, or you mean within Photoshop?
Just like, or at least how you're doing it in Photoshop, yeah. Like, because you have one tab open for one image, the first image, and then of course, as you have all the setups and everything, now it's like moving towards with like the rest of the pictures.
Yes.
How was it then?
It's a good question. You know that that batch process dialog I opened? In that dialog, you say what you want to get. Oh, look, it's going to try the video. I don't think it's going to work, but okay. So it's complete, by the way. I'm going to show you this over here. When I go back to File, under Automate, under Batch. Under Batch Processing, this is the script I'm going to run. And by the way, they have a lot of built-in scripts. This one will put a wood frame on everything, for example. You can play around with those, but what I need is this. Source. If I had 20 images open, I could say instead open files, and then it would take every open file and do it to it. You could use Bridge apparently, or you could tell it to import. But I'm saying I have everything in one folder. I'm saying take that whole folder and now do it to that. So you want to make sure the folder's clean. Let me show you what I mean by that. If I go back to, let's turn that off. If I go back to our web browser over here, and I go back to Photos, this is just Google Photos, which I'm using because it's free and it's with my phone. You could use Adobe's product. You could use Apple. You could take them right off your phone if you wanted. But when I select a bunch of photos here, and for no good reason, I'll take these 3 photos of a drivetrain error on my car. I click it, and I say download, it will compress them into a zip file. See that? It does that just so it's easier to move it. And then if I look at that zip file, show in folder, there's that zip file. I have to unzip it. Unzipping should be automatic. If not, you could download something and do it. But if I right mouse click this, I get a choice to extract to Photos 2. This is going to make a new directory, Photos 2, that has just those 3 photos in it. So I know now that I want to throw this folder at the script that will resize everything. Let me show you this while I'm here too. Downloads in Photos 1, which is what we just made. And again, we got to know our paths here. Photos 1. I have a new directory called resize, and I have all these images in it. If we look at these images, properties, details, 750 by 1000. So these are all the right size now. Let's go back. Google Web Designer. Somewhere or another, I should have, oh yeah, like these are all the ones I don't want. Let's take them all and we'll put them in a garbage. Like that. Delete selected assets. Yes, I want to do that. It won't matter. It's not deleting them from the drive. It's just deleting them from Google Web Designer's space, as it will. I'll move that out of the way a bit, so we'll see it better once it gets rid of these. Drag them down to that garbage can, or maybe I'll just right mouse click them and hit delete. Okay. So it's a little messy here, but hopefully it's going to get over. Oh, you know why? I shouldn't laugh, but it gave me all of these layers that I do not want. I wonder if I can delete these all at once. Oh, I can. Look at that. It's kind of nice. No, and we're back to this, which is good. Now let's bring in the ones we want, and we don't want them all thrown on the our background here. So let's bring them in here. I'm going to hit this plus to import assets, and I'm going to click that, and let's try to bring in everything here and hit open. Now it should have them all nicely over here. And now if I take one of them, and I'm going to, you know what, we'll take that one. Okay. You'll see that that fits much better than what I was talking about. Now, I'm not going to worry about that too much right now. Let me resize it because we now have it on a layer here. And we should be able to pretty easily enter its properties. Properties. We will, let's put everything to percentages. We'll lock these together. And I should be able to do that with it now. Good. Now let's see if we can use it as an asset, which we should be able to. We'll insert a keyframe. Oh, I always hate this. Insert a keyframe here, fine. And then we'll go over to 2 seconds. And you know what we'll do? We'll blow it up, why not? That's kind of a good idea. Yeah, and we'll move it. So now it should be doing that. If it's doing that, I should be able to preview it. Come on, web browser. There it is. So we now have an image with a slow zoom in on a Luna. Okay? Now, let's talk a little bit more about more complex ways of using images. Because the JPEG is what the JPEG is, which, you know, it's fine for what it does. I'm going to load that image in Photoshop over here, or something close to it. Yeah, that looks okay. And I'm going to turn off extras because they annoy me. And I'm going to say I want the hand and the dog to get bigger. And I'll show you what I mean. I have this as a background image. Let's turn it into a layer. So we have it safely like that. And then let's use our selection tools, which since you've all taken Photoshop, should be able to get this. Ooh, you know what? Let's see if Adobe's artificial intelligence algorithms are smart enough to get a dog. Okay, let's see if you can do it. I doubt it can do it because it's, oh my God, it did it. It sort of did it. It's not bad, okay? You know, that's a new magic button that Adobe put in there with using artificial intelligence to, because they know basically you want to take someone off a background. I didn't know if they could get a dog, and they got a lot of that dog. Okay. I will keep adding to it because I want to get the rest of the dog in the hand. So I think that'll all move as one. And then I want to see, it wasn't perfect. Oh, again, not too shabby, Adobe. I'll give you credit there. Oop, that's a little too far. Yes, I think that'll work. You know what? Let's get rid of whatever holes we have. Okay. Now, I want to edit, copy, edit, paste to make a separate layer of just my dog kind of floating on the background there. I probably should have blurred that edge a little bit, but I'm not going to worry about it too much, and I'll show you why. I am going to save this, this layer actually. Quick export as PNG. JPEG had limitations on it. PNG, which is portable network graphic format, was designed to replace another type of file, which is called GIF file or a GIF file, depending where you are with the G's. It stands for graphic interchange format, so that means it should be GIF, but whatever. One of the reasons people don't use it is it's got copyrights on it. File formats could have copyrights on it, and if they have that, there's big problems. So they made an open source format called PNG that not only has all the pluses of JPEG, but also lets you save transparency. Now, transparency is an alpha channel. I wonder if it'll give me a quick export as a PNG. I should remember which image this is, which is 84340. 84340. So we should call this, we're going to call this alpha, because it should have an alpha channel on top of that. And it should save, let's see if it did. It should save as a PNG file, which will have transparency in it. Where are we here? Downloads, file paths. Look, got to know all my file paths again. File paths are really uninteresting. And if you don't know them, you can't work in this field. So learn your file paths. One of these will be a, what's a frickin' PSD? Oh no, that's not the right one. Oh, there we go. Alpha PNG. And actually, if you look at it, you can see it's this same dog, 84340. 84340. See that? But without a background. So let's go over here. And I'm going to copy this layer. I wonder if I can do that. Duplicate it. Good. So I'm just duplicated that layer, except I want to use a different image. This is where they are. I'm going to pick instead this image. Okay. Now it's interesting because a nice thing about that is that it's doing the exact same thing. Oh no, actually I can get away with that, can't I? Yeah. I'm good with that. Because you know what I'm going to do now? Watch this. Go down here, and on this one down here, let's make Luna grow a little bit there. We'll go over here, and we'll... Oop, wrong one. Darn. Aha, that's right. It's this one. It makes sense. It's the one on top. I need it to be the one on top. Yeah. And we'll make it go like that. And that means we'll now get this effect. Let's see if it works. Sherry's coming up. Now she's moving in a pin in the background. See that? It's a gag. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a good gag. You know what it's called? It's called the kid stays in the picture gag. And I'm going to show you quickly why it's called that. Assuming I can find my web browser, which I apparently shut for some reason. Let's go to YouTube. There was a documentary, and the documentary was about a very famous man, but he made movies, but there were no movies of him. So they had to make it interesting with still pictures. So they did this. Oh, it's okay. You don't. It's okay if you don't hear it, because just look at the effect. See?
Okay.
Yes. I'll tell you when the effect comes on because they have little. This is one of them. It's not a bad movie. I mean, even though the guy's kind of a jerk, but the kid stays in the picture effect is when you move part of an image over another image, like that, like that, like that, sort of like that. Again, they had to make it more like that. They had to make it more interesting because they did not have a lot of footage of him like that. And that's where this idea of alpha channels comes in very handy. You'll want to be able to pull parts out of your images to make them work in relation to each other. You see it very routinely these days. Anyway, that's that. That effect is what we basically pulled off. Although if I had blurred my edge a little bit, oh yeah, look, here she is down here. We'll load that back in again. If I had blurred this edge a little bit, it would be a slightly finer effect. And another thing about it, by the way, is that maybe I'll reload it here. It's moving very mechanically, like robotically, like that, which I don't love. I can fix that. Oh, that's why I closed it. That explains why I closed it. The way I fix that is I change, see how those keyframes say linear? I change them. If I right mouse click them, I want them to ease in and out. Take this one too. Ease in and out. We'll take this one too. We will ease it in and out. Now, rather than moving mechanically from one point to another, it will speed up and slow down. And I'll show you the difference. We'll do this. Preview it. Okay. Do you see how that feels smoother? That's an ease in and ease out, and it's a more naturalistic movement. If I actually want this to last longer. So I'll pull this one down a bit, like that. And we'll try it again. I think I have to re-preview. Do I have to re-preview? I should have to re-preview. Yeah, I have to re-preview. Now this should be much slower, see? And you know what? I want that to go further. So let's go down to that keyframe, just here. And we're at 168%. We'll go up to 200%. And now I'm just ballparking, moving it back to cover where she would be, sort of like that. So if we slide it, we can see how that works together. Oh yeah, no, I think this one's going to be money. This is the one I would show the client. Ah, not that one. Now this should. Okay. Now, That's JPEG. That's PNG, which gives you alpha channels on JPEGs. I want to show you a couple other file formats you can put in as assets, and then I want you to think about the assets you're going to put in there and how you're going to play with them. A lot of you work in Illustrator. Illustrator is a vector graphics format. We cannot load Illustrator files. We can load SVG files. Oh, wait, that's us over there. Let me move that out of the way. SVG is another open source format made for the internet. We're going to look up the test image, Tiger SVG. It stands for Scalable Vector Graphic. Should be this one, I bet. Yes. This should be on Wikipedia Commons, which means you can use it anywhere. We're going to open a link in a new tab. Okay. So this is the famed file Ghostscript Tiger SVG. This is the original SVG file. Watch what happens when I click this. Okay, we get this image. Now, why is this different than other images? This is a vector image. These are all individual curves. I should be able to zoom in on it infinitely and never lose detail. Wow, won't let me go beyond 500. But if you work in Illustrator, you could see where that could be useful. Scalable vector graphics format. If you're in Illustrator, you can save as SVG and you get exactly this. And here's a really wacky thing about it, to my mind at least. It is actually a human readable format. You ready for this? Remember how we were looking at web pages before? Rather than HTTP, this says SVG as its first thing. And this is every single stroke in graphic and color on this here tiger. Or lion, tiger, I guess it's a tiger. I bet you I could even pick one. Try to pick the ear, yes. Okay, so that is the ear. Path ID, it's 360. These are coordinates. I wonder where it has color. It must have color somewhere. Oh, fill. Look at that. Fill. Can I edit it? I want to make that red, which I'm going to bet RGB, it's going to be F. Hope I don't regret this. Yes, look at that. There's a whole thing about binary. That's how I got that. But human editable, scalable vector graphics, anything you've got in Illustrator, you can bring in to Google Web Designer and use as a web thing. Let's save this guy now. I wonder if I can save it directly from here. Save as, yeah. Okay. SVG is what it's going to come down as. We're going to put it into downloads. I wonder if it'll save the red ear. We'll find out very rapidly. Let's go back over here to our library. Scale animations. Press shift and drag multiple. That's interesting. I didn't know that, but whatever. I'm going to click this plus, and we're going to go to downloads where we should have our SVG. There it is. Open it. Okay, now we should have an SVG tiger here. Let's make a new layer with our tiger. It didn't save our ear. But we could actually modify that here. Let's go under the properties of this guy. That's funny, it's under pixels. It shouldn't be. It should be under percentage. Aha! See, it's only at 15 or 20% of its size. We should be able to make this any size we want. And remember I said the human viewable thing? A funny thing about, it's not funny. It's not funny, haha, anyway. You know how this is always writing code in the background? You can see that code. Here's my code. So if I want to find in my tiger where that is, tiger. Here's my assets. Ghostscript tiger. Here it is. I can modify these. I'd have to remember which one it is, which Man, it would be difficult. It would be much easier, obviously, to do that in Illustrator. In Illustrator, I can use any tool I want, that I can save as SVG, that I can put it back over here. But it's kind of interesting, I think. And let me go back. Let me get out of code view here because I don't want to be there anymore. We'll go back to design view. And let's see what you can do with this. You know what? We'll start with this really small. Yeah, here we go. Maybe not that small. Maybe something like that. Maybe something like that. Maybe something even smaller. Yeah, we could start like that. Why not? We'll put it there, and I'll put a keyframe on it. Okay. And then we'll let Luna do her thing like that. And now we'll blow. You know what? I'm going to go to here and put another keyframe in right here. What that's going to do is that's going to keep our tiger the exact same size. And then we'll go to here and we'll blow our tiger up. Like, yeah, you know what? Maybe we could put her on the head. We can get away with that. I can sort of get away with that. Let's see. Yeah, that'll sort of work. You know what? I'm going to turn these guys, both of these, into, oh no, I don't want to do that. I want to turn them into ease ins and outs. Ease in and out. Okay. Let's see what that looks like. She blows up, and then the tiger comes leaping in. You can see my canvas isn't big enough at this point. And I could change that if I want. I have to go back to the canvas, which is here. Is it there? It should be here. And I go to the properties of that canvas. Come on. Give me, oh. Good. Duplicate page, add a page. I don't want to add a page yet. I want to get back to your properties, which means I should deselect all that. Aha, okay, here we go. Page one, that's what I want. We're going to make it much bigger. We'll make it 1600 by 1200, which is a bigger size to work with. Oh, look, it's already there. And let's try previewing that again now and just see where it goes. We'll shrink it down here so we can see what's going on with it. Preview. Okay, much bigger image, which is good. And we see our tiger spring up a lot more there. See that? I'm going to show you one other image, one other sort of asset you can load in, and then I'm going to let you start to play around with assets and see what you can do with them. Although, just to say I did it, I'm going to make the lion head turn a couple times. I'm going to go to this keyframe so I have it lit up, and I'm going to go in the rotations, my Y rotation. We'll make it 1 degree. Do I want it on Y? I think I want it on Y. And we'll get to here, and let's see if we can have it do a 360 and what that does. Now it's a little too, the other image is a little too far forward and is blocking it, so I'll push both of those images back. Let's see what we got here. No, that's on the Y, that's on, the Z. I'm going to push you back on the Z. And my best way to see this happening, now let's go to, yep, we're on the right one. Control Z. I want to push you here. That's it. So we push that one back. And we push this one back. And we should be able to get them beyond where the cutting plane is. Are you both on 18? You're on 237. You're on 18. Yeah. So we can move them around like that. Although I'm starting to get into a messier and messier world here. Although that should work. Actually, let's just take a look at it. We'll see what it's doing. These can get very complex very quickly, which I guess is half the fun. Move this coming up, just moving forward. Here comes our tiger spinning into place. Oh, that's... It's a web page, you know? It's a web page. I'd call it that. Okay. I said I was going to show you one other format. I'm going to do it very quickly. Movies. You want to include movie files, demo reels, things like that. There's a component. Components. We're going to do a lot with components next week. Notice this one's called image galleries. Those could be really useful. But there's one called YouTube, which means I can actually drag over here a YouTube video, and I get a new layer for it there. If I look under the properties, I can include a video, although I have to find the video. Close my freaking web browser again. It's such a weird habit, like doing that. There it is. Just because I close it, because you're kind of practicing doing web stuff in it, and then you click close, and then bombs your uncle, as they say. Okay, I'm going to go to my YouTube page. Oh man, of course. Although this should sign in instantly, I would think. Let's do it that way. Okay, good. Now we'll head over to my channel, and let's see if we can find last week's video. This one. 40 views. It's probably 40 of you, I'm guessing. Although you never know. Let's get that link. Share. You know what? Let's get it to a more interesting point. I know that's a bit of a stretch, but we'll start there. I like that. Share. Start at 2107. Copy it. And let's paste that. Okay. Mevid. Now, you won't see it in here. As a matter of fact, actually, you will see it in there. Look at it. There it is. It's way weirdly on the Z. There it is. We're going to put it way up front. And we'll make it bigger, too. We want it way bigger than 200 by 140. Should be 1920 by 1080. And we'll move it. We'll have it come into frame. I'll plunk a keyframe for it here. And I'll go over to here and let my dog and tiger do everything, and then I'll take over the screen like that. Let's get our size bigger. Wrong one. That's position. That's size. And go back here, and we'll make our size much smaller. Okay. Let's watch the whole show. Okay, a JPEG with a PNG, my video coming in, an SVG in the background. And really, I should start playing at some point. You know what? Oh, I have to tell it to play. That's my fault. Of course it's my fault. There's an old saying, computers can't do anything without us telling them to do it first. What I didn't tell it to do was play. We want it to loop. We want it to, what else do we want to do here? Autoplay, standard. And we'll try that again. Let's reload it. So we resized images. It's having a little problem getting it from YouTube there. There it is. And I'm playing video. I'm making HTML5. It's a beautiful world, isn't it? A lot of information in this session, guys. I'm going to step off now. You play around with this. We have tutors around to help. It's very disconcerting seeing two of me there. So I'm going to step out.